What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the 3.0 Transformers MDLX Skywarp. So this is the second in the series of Seekers from MDLX. I'm pretty much all in on this line. I typically don't get the repaints, but I thought this looked really cool. It also does come with a single new accessory, which is an extra face sculpt. We'll take a look at that when we get to accessories. So you do get something new. Other than that, it's really just new paint. The paint job is spectacular, so I definitely was still interested, even though it's a repaint of the Starscream mold. But other than that, they haven't changed anything. It is the same mold, same weapons, same accessories, except for that one face. Speaking of the paint, it's really beautifully done. You got this copper paint used throughout for the cockpit, on the hip skirts here, on the front and the side, on these little pipes for the engines. That looks beautiful. That looks like a real part, you know. Engines on the back here done in silver gunmetal. More of that silver with the copper back here, copper here, silver gunmetal. The whole back is painted. Speaking of the backpack, this does come off, and you know, when you take it out of the box, it'll be like this. It's amazing that they put all that paint and sculpted detail on the back that you're never going to see, because who's going to have Skywarp without his backpack? And even on the inside of the backpack, you got the silver gunmetal, sculpted detail, all this thing which you're never going to see, because who's looking at the inside of the backpack? So that's just extra attention to detail by 3.0. Nice metallic blue here for the knees. Purple paint here. All the purple paint and the gray paint has a black wash over it, so it gives it that little bit of weathered look, but it still looks really sharp. So overall, very nicely detailed and painted. All right, let's go over the articulation on this guy. It is the same as the Starscream, but I just want to cover it so you can see if there's any issues and problems. Specifically, the hip skirts have been an issue in the past. But head is on a ball joint, so you get side to side, forward and backward, and rotation. The neck is also on a ball joint. When I first got it, the neck was a little tight. I don't know if there was a piece of paint or something stuck in there, but now it works very well. It goes down to there, way up, way back, way side to side, just do the double ball pegs. You can get the walk like an Egyptian head movement out of him. And just really nice articulation on the head. Shoulders rotate around on a ball joint. They also are on a ball joint, so you get a butterfly out of it. And then you get this additional butterfly. The piece that they use for the butterfly is actually sculpted and detailed. So that's just nice attention to detail on that. Shoulder pad itself can go up and down on a hinge. The shoulder can go up to there. If you lift out on this, you can get it up a little bit more. So you can kind of have the shoulder in two positions, you know, out or closer to the body. You have a rotation at the bicep, at a cut joint. A double jointed elbow gets you the full bend. Underneath, you've got a covering piece here. So as you bend the elbow, it covers, you know, the inside of it. So that's a nice look. The hands are on a double ball peg, so it moves in and out, up and down, and you can rotate it around. The hands have that same finish, purple paint with a black wash on them as well. Get the hands out of the way. The waist can swivel. It does collide a little bit if you use the ab crunch, which is at the cockpit, which I think is very creative. You can get it rotated more. Just make sure the hip skirt's out of the way, but it can rotate all the way around. The other thing you can do, since this backpack is tighter than it was on Starscream, you can pull it out just a little hair, and that will get you a little space to get around the hip skirt. So you can do that as well now that the backpack is tight, or tighter. The hip skirts will move out of the way. In the unboxing, I knocked this one off, and it must have been just a fluke because I haven't knocked it off since. So these hip skirts seem to be better than some of the releases from MDLX line. The hips are on a drop-down double ball peg. You can bring them down and it'll kick up to there. On some previous figures, when you brought it all the way up like that, it would knock this hip skirt off. This one it doesn't. This rear hip skirt can get out of the way. It runs into the wings here, so that prevents the leg from going past that point. But that's fine. And then out to the side, up to there. Nice tolerances on all of those joints. It works and feels nice. You have a hip rotation on the ball peg as well as on a universal, on a nice tight squeaky joint. The knee is double jointed, gets you the full bend. You have a moving knee piece, so that looks really nice. There's also a collapsing piece back here, so as you bend it, that collapses into the leg. Very smart engineering on that. For the feet, you have these pieces on the side. It'll move out of the way to allow the ankle. It's on also a double ball peg, so you can tilt the whole thing to the side. You can just tilt the bottom of the foot, and that's why these hip skirts get out of the way, because it really has a lot of range, forward and backward. And you have a toe tilt up and down. For the accessories, we get some alternate hands here, so we get the open reaching expressive hands, and you can just pop them off the ball joint, pop on the new one, and you get 2 of each. So nice looking hands. We get another expressive hand, slightly less open, so you can use that, kind of like if you had him in a pose where he's firing his null ray. Use something like this. I don't know. You have options there. We also get a gripping hand to hold the weapons, which is pretty much, I'd have at least one of these on there because I like to have them holding weapons, but looks like that. And you can either take this null ray off and put that in the hands, although I don't prefer that just because it's, I don't know. I like to have the null rays on the arms, but it's nice that you have the option if you want it. Let's put that back. Or you can take these wing blades, what they call them, and it's a little tricky. I recommend you heat up this hand just because it's hard to get it in there, and you don't want to break it, but you can get this in here after you heat it up. I heated it up once. You could probably do it without heating it up, but I just want to give you that caution. But you can get it around the fingers, and then I recommend doing it that way, and then plug it in after you get it in. And that's a good looking weapon there. And then if you don't want to use it, you can store it on the back. It sits like this with this piece on the outside. It just pushes up into the wing. It doesn't really lock in place, so you can knock it off with your fingers. I mean, it's not going anywhere, but if you bump it with your fingers, it will pop off. Right, and the last accessory is the alternate faces. So let's get a little bit closer. Here's the stock face it comes with pre-installed. We get the alternate smirking face, which is actually identical to the smirking face we got with Starscream. So this is basically the same, but to get the face off, you just basically pull forward on it and then pop the new one on. So you can have that. But even better, you get a new face. So we only got one with Starscream. Now we get 2 with Skywarp. And I like that because then you can differentiate the Seekers from each other. Because if you're going to have them on a display together, might as well have different faces. So there's that face. I like that. Now he's got a little missing piece on his face. I don't know if that's intentional, like if it's battle damage or something. So it's right here. It's right on the nose. Is that paint or sculpt? I think it's sculpt. So there's a sculpted, damage to his face right there. It does look good. I like the look of the face. Hopefully that wasn't blurry that whole time. Oh gosh. But yeah, it does look good. It's nice to have a different face so you can differentiate them. And speaking of being differentiated, there it is next to the MDLX Starscream. And I just really like the color scheme on this. I know they're the same mold, but something about the color scheme and the overall choices they made here really makes the Skywarp stand out. I actually think it looks better than the Starscream. Little things like, the hue of the copper here, The contrast of the black and the gray, the backpack overall, I don't know what it is, but something about the Skywarp just is more attractive to me. But it's nice to have these two partners, or I guess brothers, together here displayed. And for my more traditional comparison, there it is next to the MDLX Optimus Prime. This is the animated edition with animated colors. And yeah, fits in nicely. It's about the same size or same height. I think they're all same height except for Bumblebee. So they're kind of making them a standard height, but there you go. So final recommendations on the 3.0 MDLX Skywarp. I like this guy. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5. I'll recommend it. It is the same as Starscream with the exception to the one face sculpt, which I left on there because I think it looks cool and it differentiates them. So that's a nice feature. I think what this is missing is a flight stand. I'm using the Fans Hobby stand, and actually it broke because it's just too much weight. But they really need, for flying characters, an option. Even if it's like an add-on or like a separate purchase, I'd be okay with that. But not having a stand for these characters that, you know, plugs in and just works natively with these seems like a miss, you know, for a flying character. But other than that, I do like it. I do recommend it. Fits in beautifully with the MDLX collection. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.